Did you know that your tongue plays a big role in your posture? That's right, your tongue isn't just for tasting food. And why is this important? Well, if you improve your tongue and your oral facial muscles, then you'll also improve your speech, your jaw development, your sleep, and also any breathing problems. So I'm going to go over some tongue exercises that will not only improve your posture, but also improve these other areas of your life. The first exercise I have is called the tongue snap. What you want to do is put your tongue against the roof of your mouth. The tip of your tongue should be right behind your incisors towards the front of the roof of your mouth. And the rest of your tongue, your middle and back part of your tongue, should also be resting against the roof of your mouth. So the tip of your tongue should be here, and then the rest of your tongue should also be against the roof of your mouth. And then what you want to do is do a really wide smile, and what you'll do is you'll also engage your neck muscles when you'll do this. And then you want to open your jaw until your tongue falls off the roof of your mouth. And when you do this, you should hear a snapping sound. So it'll look like this. You want to do this about 20 to 30 times in a row for 2 to 3 sets in a day. If you do this, it'll actually give yourself a natural neck lift and help prevent that forward head tilting posture. The reason that this works and a lot of the other exercises I'm going to mention also work is because your tongue is basically a cluster of muscles. And these muscles in your tongue have different attachments. Some of these attachments will attach to your chin, some of them will attach to your neck, some of them will attach to the rest of your jaw. And this is what makes the tongue such an important muscle, because if your tongue posture isn't good, like if your tongue is resting against the floor of your mouth instead of the roof of your mouth, then you also tend to be a mouth breather, where instead of breathing in and out through your nose, you usually breathe in and out through your mouth. This will cause a ton of issues. One being, if your jaw is always hanging open, it's going to pull your head forward, and then your head is going to put more strain on your shoulders, and you're going to get that forward head tilting posture. You're also going to be more likely to have sleep apnea, one because of this forward head posture, but also because breathing in and out of your mouth is not ideal for breathing and for sleep. And this also happens because when you're a mouth breather, it will also further constrict your airway, especially if you're lying on your back while sleeping at night, because your tongue will tend to fall back and close off your throat and cut off your breathing. If you ever notice someone with a forward head posture, you might also notice that they tend to tilt their chin up. And this is a natural response to open up the airway. And this is also why when people are doing CPR, when they have to give rescue breaths, why they tilt that chin up, because it'll open up the airway. And this is why, again, the tongue is such an important muscle. And simply improving the posture and the strength of your tongue, it can prevent a lot of other issues you'll have in life. The next exercise I have is called the tongue push-up. For this, you just need to put the tip of your tongue against the roof of your mouth. You don't need to put the rest of your tongue against the roof of your mouth. And then you're going to open and close your jaw about 10 times while keeping your tongue against the roof of your mouth. So it'll look like this. Do this about 10 times in a row, and again, about 2 to 3 sets. The third exercise I have is more for your tongue posture in general. You want to put your tongue against the roof of your mouth. This time, again, it's going to be your whole tongue. So put the tip of your tongue in that same spot, and then put your middle and back part of your tongue against the roof of your mouth. Then you want to push your whole tongue up through the roof of your mouth. Try to really push that palate up, and try to keep that up for like 1 full minute. Then after 1 minute, cut that pressure in half. So you still want to push up against the roof of your mouth, but you don't want to push as hard. Keep that up for another minute, and then cut that pressure in half again. And keep this up until your tongue is lightly touching the roof of your mouth, all the way from the tip to the back part of your tongue, all against your palate. This is how your tongue posture should be at pretty much all times at rest. The tip of your tongue should be in that same spot that we talked about, and then the middle and back part of your tongue should be resting against the roof of your mouth, and you want to kind of create a suction with your tongue against the roof of your mouth. And you also want your teeth to be slightly touching. You don't want them to be hanging open. You want them to be slightly touching, and you want your lips to be closed. This is perfect oral posture, or perfect mouth posture. If your mouth posture is like this at an early age, it will also help encourage proper jaw development. But if you're an adult and you're watching this, don't get too discouraged, because having this posture even later in life will still help. This posture will also encourage nasal breathing. And just like how your posture should be like this at rest at all times, you should also be breathing through your nose in and out at all times. You might have heard some different information out there, but I made a lot of videos on why nasal breathing is so much better than mouth breathing, and I'm putting a couple links in the description below if you want to learn more about that. The next exercise I have is going to involve the tongue being against the roof of your mouth and swallowing. If you ever see other people when they're eating, I know a lot of times kids do this, whenever they have to swallow something, they tend to squint and engage the other muscles in their face and their neck just to swallow their food. This might seem normal, but it's actually a sign that their orofacial muscles are not developing properly. And this can definitely lead to those other issues I talked about later in life. Whenever you swallow your food, the only muscle that should be involved in swallowing is your tongue. Your tongue should basically roll that bolus of food from the tip all the way to the back of your mouth for you to swallow it. So with this exercise, what you want to do is, again, keep that proper oral posture. So you want your tongue to be against the roof of your mouth, just like we talked about before. Then you want your teeth to be slightly touching and your lips to be closed. And then keep that posture for about 30 seconds and then try to swallow. It'd be better to look into a mirror when doing this because then you can see if you're engaging any other muscles. It really should look effortless when you swallow like this. And you can also work on these muscles throughout the day too, like when you're eating. When you're eating, you want to focus on chewing with your mouth closed, and you want to chew on both sides evenly. And you want to chew basically more than you feel the need to. Ideally, that food should almost liquefy by the time you're ready to swallow. Then when you're ready to swallow your food, focus on only using your tongue to swallow that. This might be really hard at first, and it might take time to develop those oral facial muscles properly, especially if you didn't grow up doing this. But over time, that tongue muscle and those oral facial muscles will develop better, and then this will get easier and easier. And again, this will also help other areas in life, like your speech, your breathing, your sleep, etc. The last exercise I have is basically these tongue aerobics. Basically, it's these big stretches with your tongue where you're gonna hold it in different directions for about 10 seconds each. So first, you wanna try to put your tongue up to your nose, like this, and hold that for 10 seconds. Then you wanna try to touch your chin, then move your tongue to the right, then to the left. I know I probably look really weird doing this, but you want to try to hold that tongue position for 10 seconds each time. So I love doing these exercises when I'm driving because, for example, I have a 30-minute drive to work and I feel like I can knock out all these exercises in the beginning or the end part of that drive, and I don't have to do it in front of other people. I know some people on the road might see me doing it and they might think, who's this crazy guy moving his tongue around? I don't want to look at that guy. But with so many things we have to do in the day and so many other routines that we have to do, something we can do while driving will definitely help save us a ton of time. Now, something else to keep in mind is you might have a tongue tie. A tongue tie is basically when you have this attachment that connects your tongue to the floor of your mouth, but the attachment is really short. Everyone has this attachment, but some people's attachments are so short that it's called a tongue tie. And if you have a tongue tie, then it's really hard for your tongue to touch the roof of your mouth, and it's really hard for you to stick your tongue out. What you might notice is if you stick your tongue out, your tongue turns into a V shape instead of being rounded. And also putting your tongue up against the roof of your mouth could be really difficult. A good gauge to see if your tongue tie is too severe is put your tongue against the roof of your mouth and also keep that middle and back part, like we said before, against the roof of your mouth. And then try to open your mouth as much as you can while keeping your tongue in that position. If you can fit 2 fingers overlap like this in your mouth while doing that, then you probably do not need to do anything about your tongue tie. So it'll look kind of like this. But if you cannot fit 2 fingers while keeping this tongue against the roof of your mouth, or you can't even touch the roof of your mouth, then you might want to consider getting a tongue tie surgery. This is a very simple surgery where that tongue tie is basically clipped, and then you're given a series of tongue exercises to do at home to basically strengthen your tongue muscle and also prevent that tongue tie from growing back. So if you're interested in that, you might want to go to your dentist or your ENT, your ear, nose, and throat doctor to talk about that. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked that video, and if you have any questions, make sure you let me know in the comment section below, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel below. Don't you just hate how much money you have to spend at the dentist? God, these dental bills keep piling up. And even if you have insurance, it really doesn't matter if you have a really big treatment plan. A lot of insurance companies will max out at like $1,000. Sometimes that's not even enough to save 1 tooth. And if you have 20 other teeth that you need to save, all of that's going to be out of pocket.